If you are someone who has ever felt powerless to stand up for yourself and express your true opinions, or if you have struggled with passive-aggressive communication in the past, because again, you can't properly express how you feel. That one is to past version of me. Or if you would identify yourself as a people pleaser who tends to bend over backwards for everyone else without assessing what you really need. If A, B, C, or all of the above apply, this episode is for you. So, hello, hi. Who knew that communication skills did not equal self-advocacy? Okay, not me. Because I have realized a massive thing about myself in the past few months that I've been working on, and I'm really excited to talk about it with you today. So really, we're looking at, can you not only effectively communicate with people, but can you effectively communicate what you need, what you want, what you deserve? Can you ask for what you want? Can you advocate for yourself? Can you unapologetically say, this is what I need? And take it or leave it, okay? Can you detach from the outcome? Can you detach from how other people will respond to what you want and need? Okay, this is self-advocacy, and we're going to talk about it today. So hi, hello, before we get into it, it's been a hot minute. If you're not new here, I've got some explaining to do, and we're going to break it down. But if you are new here, I'd love to introduce myself. My name is Vic. I am a psychology graduate, I'm a certified life coach, I am a teacher, and the Mindset Matters podcast is all about learning to navigate life through a lens of resilience, presence, and gratitude. So if you are looking to be more in control of your inner state, build more mindful routines, live more presently, and be a part of a community that loves you and cares about you, you're in the right place. Stick around, stay a while. And I'm so excited to talk about self-advocacy because I have had some massive growth in the past few months while also just taking a break, being offline. So what I'll do, I'm going to make a little timestamp for anyone who doesn't really want to know what I've been up to. You could skip ahead and we'll get into self-advocacy. But if you are not new here, and maybe you were a regular listener and you're like, Vic, what the heck, where have you been? Let's chat for a minute about that. So I've not posted a podcast since January, beginning of January. And I actually re-listened to that episode yesterday because I was talking to a new friend. Shout out to Katie, who has really inspired me to get back onto the podcast train. We had a really fun brainstorm session, and I revealed to her that I have a podcast because I haven't told anyone recently in my life about this, kind of because I was taking a break, and all my social media is deactivated at the moment. Well, I guess my Instagram's deactivated. My TikTok I just put private, and I deleted the app off my phone. So that's kind of a thing. I've been in a little bit of a hiatus in terms of social media. Honestly, I just wasn't loving how I felt on Instagram. I kind of just was feeling like I wanted to be more private in my life. And I think that kind of bled into the podcast and just thinking like, what am I doing with the pod, first of all? And also feeling like I ran out of things to say, to be quite honest. I felt like I was learning things about myself that I needed to let play out a little bit. And this is a huge theme for the self-advocacy thing. And I'm at a place now where I'm like, oh, I can talk about this more openly because I feel like I've come out the other side of it a little bit. I just needed some time to kind of focus on other things. And I've honestly been having a really great start to this year, I must say. I keep telling myself that this is the best year of my life. And I think when you tell yourself something over and over, it's going to become your reality. So 2025, my last episode was all about how I want to redefine success for myself this year and like what success means to me. And I re-listened to that episode and it's all about living presently. I want to measure success this year by my ability to live presently, my ability to show up the best I can every single freaking day. Because honestly, like that to me is your life. Like your life is your habits. Your life is what you do regularly. Your life is how you spend your time. And if you can show up and be present in where you are every day, you're living a successful life, no matter what it looks like to other people, no matter what things maybe didn't work out. I think I need to do a whole episode on the fact that I literally failed for the entire year last year and what I've learned, because failure is a chance to grow. And me taking a break from the podcast was really a chance for me to grow as a person. And I've had a really great start. I've made a lot of friends in Vancouver. I really prioritized my social wellness, and I've met some wonderful women. And I feel like I finally have kind of a very cozy, comfortable, fun group of friends. And we all are either maybe new to Vancouver. I guess, yeah, most of us are new to Vancouver. We actually all met on Bumble Friends. And it was like we had all realized we matched like with each other, and we all were hanging out individually, and we were like, all right, let's round it up. Let's start a group chat. And we've hung out, all of us, and it's so much fun. And I'm like so excited to continue deepening my friendships with these women, and it's just been a really great time. I've also continued to do my yoga volunteering and doing hot yoga. I have been running. You guys, I've been freaking running. Okay, if you know me, you know that I've struggled with a knee injury and knee surgery. And I'm finally happy to report that my knee is back on track. Okay, my hamstring has finally started to grow. I went to a physio appointment this past week, and she was so happy. She's like, you're so much stronger. Yes, you're running, everything. In the last episode, I talked about wanting to do a 10K. I have officially signed up for the 10K race that I'm going to do. So I'm training for that now, and I'm feeling really good in the gym. And I just needed to take a moment to like be offline, you know? And I think I'm even questioning like how I want to get back to being online and what that's going to look like for me. I don't know if I want to get my Instagram back, to be honest. I know I need to follow my heart in terms of like what's going to make me the most happy. And I'll be honest, being off social media the past like 2.5 months or whatever it's been now, I don't miss it. I am in my own world. I've just been happy not seeing what people are up to all the time. It's making me text my friends more. It's making me FaceTime my mom more. I guess my mom I FaceTime anyways. But it's making me be more in tune with like who are the friends that I want to catch up with, and how am I going to catch up with them? Because I'm not seeing what they're doing. I'm not seeing what they're posting. And likewise, they're not seeing what I'm doing because I'm not posting anything. So it's been kind of really nice, to be honest, and I don't miss it. And so I don't know if I'm going to keep going with just no social media, and I might just do another episode on that. But the podcast is something that feels different. It's more intentional. I've always been a fan of like long form content. I've talked about that before. And I do really appreciate the people that have listened to this podcast and give me feedback and tell me that it helps them. And I feel really good about that, you know? So I might do a full episode on social media. I think I'm going to give it more time. Again, this is where this theme of like, I needed to just live my life for a bit before I had anything to talk about, because I genuinely feel like I ran out of things to say. I was like, everything sounds the same. I'm repeating myself, and I don't know if that's what it felt like for you guys, but I kind of just got to a point where I was like, let's pause, let's focus on some other things. And I will say, like, taking the pressure off allowed a lot of great things to kind of just find me in my life. One being like work-related opportunities, 2 being friendship and people in my life, 3 being just able to focus more on my physical health. But I'm really happy to be recording today. So that's the blurb about where I've been. I hope you've been doing well wherever you're at this year, whenever you're finding this episode. And let's get into self-advocacy. Okay, so let's start with the definition. As we often do. What is self-advocacy? The ability to speak up for yourself and the things that are important to you. Self-advocacy means you are able to ask for what you want and need and tell people about your thoughts and feelings. I'm like getting triggered. I think I had this deep-rooted belief that conflict is bad. That conflict equals people will leave me. Conflict equals people think I'm asking for too much or I'm being difficult. And I don't want to be like, oh my God, it all stems back to childhood trauma. But all of us have childhood trauma, and it could be like one incident where maybe a parent yelled at you for like expressing something and you just internalize it. And this is no shade to my parents. I have amazing parents, an amazing family, amazing friends. And it's so funny because I'm like, I think because of this, I didn't even realize that like this could just be a deep-rooted belief. Because when I started to look back and realize, okay, actually, we need to pause. A few months ago, I was in a situation, a romantic situation, and that situation ended. And it was that point where I realized that I had no self-advocacy skills. And I was shook, okay? I was shook to my core. I had no idea. Because here I am, I have a podcast, I'm a teacher, I'm really great at communicating. I thought I was a great communicator. And turns out, no, I wasn't. And I've never been good at expressing how I feel. And I started to learn about self-advocacy and realized like, holy Moses, I am not advocating for myself. So I really had to look inward and be like, why? And what it came down to was, again, this kind of realization of this deep-rooted belief that conflict is a bad thing. And I always wanted to avoid conflict. And I felt like if I'm avoiding conflict, I'm doing something right. And everything is perfect. And I don't fight with my friends. But it's like, conflict isn't bad. Okay, and if you have experienced this, I don't know if I'm on my own boat here, but conflict is not a bad thing. And the more I've been learning about this, the more I've been practicing advocating for myself, and I'll get into tips for how to start self-advocating. I realized like conflict actually can bring you closer together. Conflict helps you just understand someone else's perspective. Conflict helps you overcome challenges with a partner, whether it's a friend, a romantic situation, with your parents, and workplace. Conflict is not bad. And again, I don't know why I always felt like I couldn't speak up for myself, but I've struggled with this since I was a child, and wherever that stems from in high school, like, but again, it's so funny because I knew that I struggled with it earlier in my life, but I didn't really realize how much it was still kind of prevalent. Relevant? What the heck am I saying? I didn't realize that it was still a problem. Okay? I didn't realize. I thought that I had overcome this and I was a great communicator. Nope. Being able to say, this is what I need, or this is not okay with me, or this hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings when you do this. Like, you're just expressing yourself. And I think I always felt like I'm stirring the pot, or I'm being difficult for no reason, or I could just let it go. And I kind of realized too, like, the art of letting things go. Like, we could think of Mel Robbins and like the let them theory. Just let them. And I think I took that theory almost too far. And I was always like, oh, it's okay. I'll get over it. Let them. But it's like, no, don't let them do whatever they want and not treat you with respect. Don't let them continue to do something that's bothering you, but they don't even know it bothers you. Like, and I think I was taking this theory of I'm so zen now and I have a great mindset and everything's working out, so it's okay and I can let them. But it's like, no, sometimes you need to say, hey, this isn't okay with me, and you need to have boundaries. So I've been learning a lot about boundaries and a lot about self-advocacy. And now I'm honestly like really proud of my growth in the past like 4-ish months. I've been speaking my mind, let me tell you. And it feels great. Let me tell you, learning to advocate for what I need and detach from the outcome. And I think this is a big point. Okay, I'm raising my finger in the air right now. I think I was always anticipating someone's reaction. And I always felt like if I speak up, they're going to get mad at me. If I speak up, they're going to say this. And I was always like anticipating this negative response from the other person, which was super irrational because one, I can't control anyone else's reaction, first of all. That's not a reason to not speak up. Two, the real people in your life that care about you will want to listen and understand why you're upset about something. Even if it is a negative reaction, I can handle it. And I can stand up and say, okay, that's not for me. If you're going to get mad at me that I'm telling you, hey, this bothers me, that's not someone that I want to in my life anyways. You know what I mean? Is this making sense? I hope so. Okay, so let's move on. How did I fix this? So I had this massive realization in like the beginning of October, okay? And I realized like, wow, I literally suck at self-advocating. Who am I? I had this whole identity crisis, okay? I was freaking out. I was like, I thought I was such a good communicator and I wasn't telling my friends when they'd hurt my feelings because I was like, I'll just get over it. I know they care about me, right? And it's like I would tell myself, I know that this friend cares about me. And then I would use that as an excuse to not express when I got my feelings hurt by that person. And both can be true. Someone can hurt your feelings and you deserve to express that, and they can still care about you. And it's not an excuse for not doing it. So I realized that I was really struggling with that. So first of all, I read a bunch of books, okay? A couple I would recommend. Attached, which talks about all the attachment styles. I learned that I am an anxious attacher. Or I had anxious attachment tendencies. And I genuinely feel like the more I've been practicing advocating for myself, I'm already seeing myself be more secure. But it talks about if you're anxious, avoidant, or secure attachment. I'm not going to go into details about those, but the book Attached was really great, and it gave a lot of good examples of like scenarios between couples or friends. I think it was mostly couples in the book scenarios, talking about, you know, how partner X reacted to partner Y and how their attachment styles kind of show their reactions. Anyways, I learned a lot and realized, wow, I'm a little bit more anxious than I realized. I had no idea. I was like, yeah, I'm secure attachment. No, because if I was secure attachment, I'd be fine advocating for myself without fear that they would be leaving me behind, leaving me in the dust. Okay, my camera's about to die. Let's reset here. Be right back. Okay, another book I read that was really great was The Way of Integrity by Martha Beck. And that book really helped me just realize what showing up authentically really means and how to show up completely yourself and stop fearing what other people think, stop fearing reactions of other people, stop fearing rejection. And again, this goes with self-advocacy, being able to say, this is what I need. And if you can't give it to me, that's okay. And I can let that go. And I think that's where like the secure attachment comes in, is being able to accept that not everyone will step up. And I think this was a fear for me. It was like, if I ask for what I want, that person's not going to deliver and it's going to ruin everything. But what kind of friendship is it if I can't express how I feel? You know what I mean? So conflict is not bad. Expressing how you feel is not bad. And I genuinely had this in my head. So I read a bunch of books, and again, I realized I was always kind of anticipating the other person's reaction, and it was an assumption that it would be a bad reaction. And so how I fixed this assumption was I said, well, I need to practice, and I need to stop assuming that it's bad, stop assuming that people will leave me, stop assuming that I'm being difficult by expressing how I feel. And And really recognizing, like, at the end of the day, I can only control myself, and I can only control how I show up. And you can never control someone else's response, reaction, decisions. Like, it's going to be their decision to take what information you give them and to do with it what they please. You know what I mean? But if you can advocate for yourself and express what you need, then you know you've done your part. So I asked myself, first of all, I said, okay, well, what is it that I need from this friend? What is it that I need from this person in my life that I'm afraid to say? So I tuned into what it was that I needed to express. And with my friends, what was great was I actually went to them and said, like, hey, I'm working on advocating for myself, so I need to tell you something. And I would almost set it up like that and say, like, look, this is hard for me, but I need to let you know, like, it hurts my feelings when we schedule a phone call and you bail last minute. Or like, this is the third time you're bailing on our phone call. Like, that hurts my feelings. And just saying that and like expressing it and saying, hey, this is kind of hard for me, but I want to let you know this hurts my feelings. And I think just continuing to practice that, slowly but surely, I started to realize that, like, oh, this friend does care about me because she's actually responding positively. Or, oh, this person isn't going to hate me because I told her that I would really like if she could be consistent. Huh, guess what? She agreed to actually try to be more consistent. Wow. Who knew? If I didn't advocate for myself, it wouldn't have happened. So really, it's like practice makes progress, right? Like, the more you do something, the more I was able to recognize my own assumptions, the quicker I was like able to catch it and to kind of push through. And like, even if my heart was racing and it was scary, I just did it anyways. And again, the more I did it, the more I was like, wait, this is kind of easy. This is kind of fun. And now I feel like I'm this powerhouse. I'm like, if something's not okay with me, I'll let you know. And I think this comes with the last thing I want to say, which is like how to communicate it effectively. Because at the beginning, I mentioned passive aggressiveness, and this is something that I used to struggle with. That's something that I've kept in my mind, was like, okay, how can I tell this person, hopefully in a respectful way, or like, how can I come from a place of like being present while I deal with conflict? Because your ego will try to take over and blow the situation up and make it this whole thing of drama, and again, put those little assumptions in your head. But it's like, if I can go about this and say, hey, I'm just here to express, like, this hurts my feelings, and like, this is kind of what I need from you. I kept asking myself, you know, before I would send a message or before I would have a conversation, I would try to be in tune with myself about like, okay, can I be present in this conversation? And what does that look like? And if I don't like how they react, how can I respond without making it worse or feeding the fire? And since then, I'm happy to report it's been going really well. And I feel like I can advocate for myself. So I'm going to end this here. I hope you got something from this. I hope to be back more regularly. Life's been very busy for me right now, in a good way though. And don't forget to subscribe.